Hey everybody, this is Greg.
And this is Matt, and we are Record Mashup. If you haven't already, please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And also be sure to check us out on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can also check out our YouTube channel page. And when you do, be sure to hit that subscribe button there as well so you can see all of our awesome videos while we're recording. Greg, what's our theme this week?
All right, this week we have happiness. So to go with that, I will be discussing Happy by Pharrell Williams, which everyone I think is familiar with if you're a huge Despicable Me fan. And Matt, what do you have for us this week?
I picked a newer song that just came out this past summer. It's called Happy Together by Blake Shelton featuring Gwen Stefani. It's a great song. I'm really excited to talk about it. It's one that I enjoyed listening to this past summer. So let's jump into it. This was a song, as I said, it's by Blake Shelton. It features Gwen Stefani. And if you don't know, they are a couple. They have been dating. If you are fans of The Voice, you should know them both. But in the event that you don't know that, I'm sorry?
Or if you're just a person.
Yeah, exactly.
You know who they are.
All you have to do is look at the People magazines in the checkout aisle at the grocery store, and you should know who they are. So this is a good song though. It was written by Ross Copperman, Josh Osborne, and Matt Jenkins, who Blake Shelton has worked with. He's worked with all these guys on all of his songs in the past, and obviously Blake Shelton I think works with them in writing their songs. But it was released as a single back on July 24th, 2020 this year. So new song, hasn't even been out 6 months. Well, not quite.
Yeah, about 6 months, almost.
Almost Christmas Eve would be 6 months. But it's a really upbeat country song with similarities to a lot of the previous collaborations that Blake and Gwen have done together. This was actually their fourth collaboration that they've released. And it's a song that was inspired by the COVID-19 pandemic. And simply put, it's a song about being in lockdown, being in quarantine with the one you love. And there's, especially if you watch the music video, I don't know if you had a chance to watch that, Greg, but
I did. It was pretty good. It does picture them in a lot of the places that they enjoyed being together at while they were in quarantine. So looked like it was just on a ranch for the most part.
Yeah,
or
so
like
Blake,
a farm or a ranch. I don't know if he owns that.
yeah, Blake Shelton grew up in Oklahoma and has a ranch in Oklahoma, and so that's actually where they spent quarantine.
Yeah.
And
with her brother.
Yes, yeah, with Gwen's brother, who filmed a lot of the home videos that you see in the music video. Yeah, apparently, kind of interesting. But anyway, as I said, it's an upbeat song. If you haven't listened to it, I actually suggest giving it a listen. It's, even if you don't like country music, I think it's a song that people could get into.
If country music is too slow for you, if you just put in like 1.5 times speed on YouTube, which is what I did when I watched it like the second time, it's pretty upbeat and it's pretty fun to listen to.
Yeah, it's a catchy song. So anyway, but as I said, it's a song that was inspired by the COVID-19 pandemic. They were at Blake's Oklahoma ranch. And one of the things that was interesting, I read an interview, I read an article about a radio interview that Blake Shelton did with Sirius XM. And he talked about how the song was really inspired about reading stories about how couples in quarantine were actually growing apart from their loved ones. And he talked about how he and Gwen actually felt the opposite, and that they actually felt like they became closer to one another during quarantine. And so he felt that he needed a song that reflected, or I guess reflected the opposite of what he felt he was reading and gleaning from the newspaper. So
I will say, knowing people in the military, some wives can't wait to get rid of their husbands to go on deployment because of how much they annoy them after being home for like 6 months together. Like, just go back on deployment.
Well, it's funny. That was one of the things he talked about in this article. How he was saying that he was absolutely loving quarantine because he had speculated that he probably hadn't spent more than 2 weeks at his ranch, prior to this because he's constantly on tour or, in LA shooting for The Voice or whatever. And so the fact that he was forced to stay at home for more than 2 weeks, he thought was pretty awesome. But
yeah, I think it's important to get your own separate away time. Like I think a lot of couples don't know exactly how to interact with each other when they're near each other for a while. I'm a huge nerd and I'll just sit in my room and play video games all the time. And my wife is like okay with like doing her own thing, taking a bath or whatever it is, and then we just separate that way. And
yeah,
she just doesn't even have to see me she could just not see me for weeks on end just playing video games, if it really came down to it. But it usually goes for only a couple of hours, but
yeah. No, I definitely think that's true. I'm more of an extrovert. My wife is more of an introvert, and so, she definitely needs her alone time space to kind of recharge her energy, um, we're lucky enough to where we've got the ability to be in different rooms like you and your wife. But I have friends that that's not the case. They're still living in an apartment or whatever. And, I know quarantine was tough on some couples.
Mhm.
So, I think everybody's experiences are different. But I think you're right. I think people do need their own alone time for whatever reason.
Yeah,
Um, so
definitely.
anyway, let's jump into the lyrics of the song. Um, verse 1, this verse, he's mostly talking about his past. He talks about how he's been a rolling stone with a reckless streak and how the grass never gets too grown underneath his feet. And it's just kind of talking about this idea that he's constantly on the move. And I think there's two ways to see this. I think there's a literal perspective here, how he's constantly physically moving from from point A to point B,
Mhm.
right? To this idea that he's never home, like we just talked about. But I think there's a somewhat of a metaphor here, and as I said, Blake isn't the main or isn't billed as the main songwriter of this, but he did I think influence it from what I read. And I do think that in this verse there's a metaphor for his past relationship history. So if you don't know much about Blake Shelton, he's been married twice before he and Gwen were together. His second wife was Miranda Lambert, if you've heard of her, another popular and famous country singer. Um, and so I think to a certain extent, I think this verse is a metaphor for how he's constantly moving through relationships in his life.
Yeah, having that
Um,
reckless streak.
exactly. Although I'm not going to get into the whole Blake and Miranda thing. I know there's like a bajillion different fan theories out there and what you read in the tabloids stuff. That's not what this is about, but I'm just saying that I think there's a metaphor here in this verse for his past relationship history. I'm just going to leave it at that. We're going to move on. So then we go into the chorus where he says, he was running wide open and he was born with his feet in motion. So again, this idea that constantly moving. But then ever since he met her, and he's referring to Gwen Stefani here, he could be happy anywhere. So it doesn't matter. Well, and then he says this line. I love this line. I don't know. I don't know why. I think it's the way he enunciates the words in the song. But he says, any mapped out location, she's always his destination. And I don't know. I just think that's kind of a cool play on words for this concept of you're constantly running. It doesn't matter where you are in the map, but the destination is the relationship. And I think that's kind of a cool way of explaining that.
Absolutely.
And then he just says, he could be happy anywhere with her. And so just kind of continuing this metaphor that he established in the first verse about, it doesn't matter where he is physically if he's with her. So, again, reading into it, there's the physical aspect of where you are in the world. But again, I think there's an underlying metaphor here that, he's found the one. His past was all about, wandering from relationship to relationship, but now with Gwen, he's found the one. And so I think that's kind of the underlying tone here. Verse 2, he just continues this idea of being with the one that he loves, regardless of where you are. He talks about how you can be somewhere in the world where you can see the northern lights, but your mind is elsewhere with the one you love, or you could see the blue sky over Telluride, but it just doesn't compare. Nothing matters other than being with the one you love. And then he just repeats the chorus multiple times. That's pretty much the song. It's super catchy, as we said earlier. I just think it's such a fun song to listen to.
I'd say for a country song, as me not being a huge country listener, so very limited country experience, it's definitely a more upbeat song.
Yeah. It's definitely a makes you feel good song too. One of those kind of, you always hear about like songs of the summer, right? It came out in the summer. It's definitely a summer song.
I've always liked Gwen Stefani stuff, so like I can get down with some Blake Shelton, Gwen Stefani,
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's really all I got. We talked about the music video already and how her brother filmed it. He was apparently stuck in quarantine with them there in Oklahoma.
He also filmed, I guess, some extra stuff that he also posted after the video came out, I guess. I didn't actually see that. But I saw that in an article somewhere. Maybe it was on Wikipedia or something, but it talks about how he had some extra stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I missed that. That's pretty neat. The song hit #1 in Canada. It also hit #1 on the Billboard Country Airplay charts, but it peaked at #3 on the country charts.
It lost out because of that dang Taylor Swift. Any of you are a Tiger King fan, Taylor Swift is like my Carol Baskins.
Yeah.
That damn Taylor Swift. Gets me every time.
Is it everything Taylor Swift or just like new Taylor Swift?
So I guess I can't say it's like Tiger King because like I don't hate Taylor Swift. I just don't think she's as great as everyone makes her out to be. One, I don't like country music, so obviously don't like her early stuff. Two, her pop stuff is like, from what I've heard, is not that great. And everyone on the boat, the 3 years I was there, tried to get me to like Taylor Swift because everyone apparently is obsessed with Taylor Swift. And like, you know what? She wears red lipstick. She looks like a clown. Just gonna say it. Guess what? My unattractive ass is gonna say that she looks like a clown. And I don't care what you guys say. Have an unpopular opinion about me, but that's it. You know what? Done. Sorry. But You know what? I don't know her. She might be a fantastic person in person. Just not a big fan of her music.
Fair enough.
Sorry, Taylor Swift rant over.
It's all good. Taylor, if you ever happen to listen to this, I think your music's great.
Also, Taylor, if you happen to listen to this, I apologize. I'm not trying to actually badmouth you. It's everyone else that makes. I have the Tom Brady effect for Taylor Swift, right? Like, I don't like Tom Brady either. He might be a swell guy in person. Haven't met the guy in person. He's a good quarterback, but like everyone loves him so much that I think I hate him because of the fans.
Greg, you clearly live in New England because all you gotta do is travel south, and you'll find plenty of people that hate Tom Brady.
Well, yeah, there's that, and that Taylor Swift did own a house in Connecticut also. I think she sold it actually because she was getting stalked or something like that.
Yeah.
But
anyway.
All right. Anyways, back to Blake Shelton, Gwen Stefani.
I think that's pretty much all I got on the song. It was the last thing I was gonna say was this was Blake Shelton's 33rd top 10 hit. So
good job, Blake.
Yeah, chart maker right there. And as I said, it's a fun song. If you haven't listened to it, give it a listen.
Yeah, definitely.
So definitely
I
makes
didn't
you
have
feel
anything
happy.
else either for that song.
Well, cool. You want to talk about Happy by Pharrell?
Yeah, so I will say that the Happy Anywhere song is much more lyrically in depth. But I will say Happy by Pharrell has a much longer list of like facts and things about it.
Yeah.
So I'm only gonna skim through the lyrics just because like there's not much to cover.
Sure.
Anyways, so the song debuted in 2013 in November. So for his 2014 album called Girl, which is a second solo album. And it was also the only single from the film Despicable Me 2. So that's giving you an insight into what the song is and where it came from. Anyways, getting into the lyrics. So it starts off with, it might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that can go to space with air. Like, I don't care, baby, by the way. And then it breaks it down why he feels that way. It's because he's happy. Talks about clap along and feel like a room without a roof because I'm happy. Clap along and feel like happiness is the truth because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you because I'm happy. Clap along, feel like that's what you want to do. So basically, are you happy? You should feel happy. Clap along with it, you know?
Love the clap.
Yep. Thank you. I felt like that really added to it and got my point across. Here you get to the next lyrics, which are not very in depth. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you. Don't waste your time. Here's why. And it's because he's happy. And it gets back into the chorus.
Yeah. I think there's definitely some in both verses, actually. There's some references, I think, to some things going on in real life. I don't know if you picked up on those. So, for example, in the first verse, when he's talking about the hot air balloon going into space,
yeah,
that was right after. It was about a year after Felix Baumgartner's descent from like 130,000 feet in the air. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't know if that's necessarily referencing that.
No, but it's.
I think that one might be a little bit of a stretch, but I think more the hot air balloon that could go into space is just like you're elated, you're like high on like being happy, and you're so high that you could go into outer space basically on being happy. That's how I took it.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought the timing of when the song came out and when that happened was interesting.
Yeah.
Then the other part was in the second verse. This was he wrote this and released it right in the midst of the lawsuit with Marvin Gaye's estate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the second verse where he's talking about this need to have to remain positive in the light of bad news, I think he's trying to say like, yeah, you guys are suing me, but you know what? You're not going to get me down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stay happy.
Absolutely.
So I kind of thought that was an interesting undertone to that verse.
Yeah, and just kind of seeing some of the like interviews from him, because I'm pretty sure if I remember properly, he did run away from like home at an early age and stuff. And I think he's been like making kind of a way for himself. And I think also that he's led a successful lifestyle, so he's probably happy himself. I mean, I know I can't speak for him myself, but that's just the kind of attitude that I get from Pharrell, from like seeing interviews and just seeing how he interacts and the types of music he makes.
Fellow Virginian.
Yeah.
He started organizing a huge music festival in Virginia Beach every year.
Oh, really? How long has that been going on?
A few years now, I think. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I just read where like they're going to be building a casino and he's like helping back part of it or something. I guess that's probably where they'll do some of the music festival in the future. But
yeah,
interesting. I saw Pharrell too. Getting off topic. I actually saw him in concert at the concert for Charlottesville, which, if you don't know, was a huge benefit concert after the events of August 12th, 2018 in Charlottesville, Virginia. But Pharrell was one of the artists that performed, and he has definitely got a lot of energy when he performs. He's very entertaining.
I can't remember if I saw him. I saw so many people. Like, do you remember what Warped Tour was?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think he performed at one of those, and I saw him there. And I also went to a Kanye West concert, and he was the opener? No, he was the third to play. It was Lupe Fiasco, Rihanna, and then NERD, which was his band.
Mhm.
I saw them perform. That was a good show. Like,
Yeah, I bet. That sounds like a
really,
cool
really,
lineup.
really good. And this was back before like Kanye kind of went off track of like what he started as a rapper. So it was back in 2008. So it was pretty good back then.
Nice. Cool.
Okay, get back into the lyrics. So where were we? Here comes the bad news. Go. And that kind of breaks down a little bit. It says, bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. Level's too high, can't nothing bring me down. Just kind of saying that he's too happy that no matter what happens, you're not gonna bring him down. And that honestly is pretty much the whole song. And it kind of goes between that little breakdown and then the chorus and back and forth. And if you watch the music video is very fun, very upbeat. There's a lot of famous people in it, a lot of like just random people in it, just dancing, just kind of lip syncing to the chorus of I'm so happy. And it's a very like fun, upbeat song. And I really enjoyed it. Definitely fits into the Despicable Me movie. And also I love the Despicable Me movies. So you won't hear me say it too often unless I'm talking about my cats, but the little minions are adorable as fuck. Sorry, I swore there. Usually don't, but
it's okay. We got the
super
little
adorable.
E next to us.
What was that?
We've got the little E next to our podcast. We're good.
Yeah, that's true. But that is the lyrics. Let me break down a couple of the facts for the song, and then Matt, if you have any. This is kind of similar to the Michael Jackson issue we had last time with Thriller, where there were like 40,000 song facts. That's the same for this one.
Yeah.
So this song came out in 2013, as I said, for his album 2014. The song actually charted in over like 30 countries as the #1 song in the world. So very, very successful. And in the United States, it hit #1 on like 10 different charts. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane.
So it did very, very good. It was very successful. And this is actually coming after a couple of Pharrell's other songs. So he had Lose Yourself to Dance and Get Lucky with Daft Punk. And then he also had the Blurred Lines with, oh God, who was it?
Robin Thicke.
Yeah, Robin Thicke. And he was coming off of that. And so he got this song. And this song was actually written for CeeLo Green. If you don't know who CeeLo Green is, he was one of the rappers, part of Goody Mob back in the day, who was associated with Outkast. And he also wrote the song Forget You, which was a huge hit off his Lady Killer album. And that his label actually turned it down, and that's how Pharrell got to keep the song.
Yeah, apparently he had a Christmas album that they were getting ready to promote.
Oh God. Listen, oh man, I just went down a rabbit hole. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna break this. So next week we'll introduce our songs, but like we're gonna be doing a Christmas episode, and I went down this huge rabbit hole of Christmas songs. So first I was gonna pick something like Michael Bublé, where he covers something and it'd be like a nice song. Then Matt was all like, no, I'm gonna go crazy with it. We'll get to the songs later. And I went down a rabbit hole. Did you know there are 3 Snoop Dogg Christmas albums?
I did not before today. That is insane.
Bragging about it all day today, or all night, I guess. And then CeeLo Green has a Christmas album. It's insane. It's insane. Also, Snoop Dogg Christmas albums, greatest thing ever. Go listen to them, all of them.
I think my theory on this is that if you ever become a recording artist, you're required to produce and record at least one Christmas album.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Pitch Perfect 2?
I haven't seen the movie, but I've heard.
Okay, in Pitch Perfect 2, Snoop Dogg and Anna Kendrick's character like collaborate for like this Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer like collaboration, and like I thought that was cool. But then me and my wife were just listening to Snoop Dogg albums. Man, like A Pimp's Christmas, that is a song. Like go listen to that, or a Snoopy's
A Pimp's Christmas,
or a Doggy Dog Christmas. Like that is a song. Like you gotta go listen to those. Oh man. So the reason why I'm so upbeat is because of the happiness theme and happy. So I'm going to get back on topic and stop like blabbering about things not associated with the song. So one of the other fun facts I saw is that Iran actually arrested people for making a tribute to the song. And that was due, according to their police chief, the song represented vulgarity and also hurt the public chastity. So while Iranian fans created a tribute to the song, they were also arrested for it, which I thought that's just crazy. Like the Western model of like thinking, like, so United States model is just like, oh, I wouldn't get arrested for like making a tribute to a song, but like some countries out there, that still just blows my mind. I hope those people are still happy after that. You know, I hope nothing can bring them down, like the song said. I don't know. Hold on. I didn't read this part before. It was reported on September 2014 that 7 of the individuals who have been handed sentences suspended for 3 years of 91 lashes each, along with jail by Iranian court. Yeah, those people aren't happy. No, I'm sorry.
That's terrible.
Fun. This is awful. This is a downer. Let's bring this back up.
Yeah, we got to shift back to a happier.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Oh man. So, I don't even know where to go with the next one. There's like, hold on. There were like 15 people that also starred in his music video for it, along the lines of, there was Steve Carell and Miranda Cosgrove, who were also in Despicable Me as well. And then there's Tyler, the Creator, Kelly Osbourne, Magic Johnson, Jimmy Kimmel, Steve Martin, Janelle Monáe, Jamie Foxx, a whole bunch of other people too.
So the music video apparently was a 24-hour long music video that was live streamed over like 24 hours. And they basically, it's a 4-minute song, so they basically repeated it every 4 minutes for 24 straight hours. So it's 360 plays, if you're curious.
Which also doesn't really matter because most of the lyrics are the same throughout the whole song. So like throwing the song on loop is like, it doesn't really break it up either.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's why, like, at various points during the 24 hours, like all these people came into the video. And then the video that everybody watches on YouTube is just a 4-minute condensed version of the clips that they filmed during that 24-hour period.
I'd also like to add, this was his 4th #1 hit on the Hot 100 list, but his first as the lead artist. He'd also been on there with Snoop Dogg, Ludacris, Robin Thicke, and Nelly. I think. No. Sorry, that was 3 songs. Yeah, 4. But he has had other songs. If you look at like the past, like the 2000s and 2010, I think we said this on a previous podcast, but he's had like the majority of #1 hits on the billboards. Like he's either produced, directed something, whatever it was, directed the music video, produced the music for it, or wrote the lines for it. He's had some part in all of, like, a majority of songs that are on the top 100.
Yeah, Pharrell's, before he became an artist himself, was an incredibly good producer and songwriter.
Yeah.
He's had his hands in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But I would say he's one of, if not the most talented people in the music industry.
Yeah.
Because he's dabbled a lot in just different types of genres too, not just like rap or anything like that. Like he did stuff with Daft Punk and all that stuff too.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. I think for myself, that's all the facts that I'm going to cover, just because of there's so many of them. But,
yeah, I think the only thing I would add that you haven't mentioned, when he was writing the song, he actually took him like 7 to 9 attempts to get the final version before he was fully happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
No pun intended. But he kept saying how he was trying to get it right so that it would fit the scene in the movie, and it just took him several attempts to get to that point.
I did have one more after, if you were done.
Yeah, good.
So if you know who Curtis Mayfield is, he was a singer, songwriter, guitarist back in the day. They compared his falsetto singing voice in the song to Curtis Mayfield. So I think that's a big praise to Pharrell's ability, especially as I don't know if many people really see him as a singer or a rapper or what it is, but he does have a great voice.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I will say.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Song won a couple Grammys. And most importantly, it has been parodied by Weird Al as the song Tacky on Weird Al's 2018 album Mandatory Fun.
Yeah. I will be honest, I haven't heard that song.
I haven't either, but I love Weird Al, and anything Weird Al does, I think is great.
All right. Well, that's all I have for the song. Matt, did you have anything additional for the song?
No, I think I think that covers it.
Okay. I think we can introduce next week's song, which I already kind of did. So I'll just start that off with Christmas song. And we're not going to pick a typical Christmas song because everyone's singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Jingle Bells, all those things, all that. And as I said, go check out Snoop Dogg's Christmas album and CeeLo Green's Christmas album. They're a hoot and a holler. And actually, CeeLo Green's singing in his Christmas album was actually pretty great. So I recommend checking that out. Anyways, my song is going to be from the famed Froggy Fresh, or if you don't know him by that name, changed it way back in the day. It originally was Krispy Kreme. I'm going to use his Christmas song of the John Cena Christmas, and it's going to be delightful.
Yes, and I was listening to this song earlier. I'd never heard it before, but I was literally laughing as I was listening to it. So
it brings me so much joy.
And the song that I have picked is a classic extension of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with Leroy the Redneck Reindeer by Joe Diffie. So it will be a fun week talking about fun Christmas songs that you've probably never heard before, but you should definitely give a listen.
Absolutely. And with that, before we go, as always, thank you for listening. And if you could please check us out on Apple, YouTube, Google, Castbox, wherever you want to listen to us on. And if you really want to see our beautiful faces, make sure you're checking out that YouTube. It needs a lot more love. And if you can leave a comment or email us or send us a message on our Instagram, we would always appreciate that. Our email is on the bottom if you're watching the video, and it's recordmashup@gmail.com. And with that, I bid you adieu.
Have a great week, everybody.